In today's show, the Trailblazers have won 3 in a row after a truly dominant dismantling of the Utah Jazz. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen. Coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's program, the Blazers beat the snot out of the Utah Jazz, 137-117. They've won 3 in a row. They've won 5 of 6. After a really solid road trip, they came back into their own building and just dominated a bad team. A win that showed a certain level of maturity that I don't think they had and haven't had earlier in the season, certainly haven't had it for many stretches. Denny was dominant. Shaedon Sharpe was excellent, and the game was over in 3 quarters. We'll get into all of it in today's program. Let's do what we do first, though. Fastest recap in the West. Blazers are coming off a nice little end to a road trip. Wins over New Orleans and San Antonio. They handled a bad Pelicans team in New Orleans. A rare double-digit win, one of their first double-digit win in a month, just their 5th double-digit win of the season, their 5th game that didn't go to clutch time, which is within 5 points in the final 5 minutes, like a true dominant game. And they held on to beat the Spurs. When the Spurs responded, they had a nice couple wins in a row. That had come on the heels of a bad loss, but 2 wins at home before that. They'd won 4 or 5 coming into this game, and they're heading back for a nice stretch. 8 of their next 10 are at home. The Jazz are not a good basketball team. They're the worst defense in the NBA, and there is a certain level of... I don't think the Blazers are in a spot where this could be like a trap. I just don't think they're good enough as a basketball team to describe any game as a trap game. But there is some sort of emotional letdown stuff, right? Where it's like, hey, don't, go ahead and win this game, right? Don't hope that the Jazz lose or whatever it is, because Utah's got their guys. Keontae George, who's been excellent this season, one of the breakout players in the league. He's playing. Larry Markkinen, who's, he's one of the best scorers in the league when he's healthy. He's playing. Yusuf Nurkic, who had missed a couple games with a toe injury, he's back, or like a quote-unquote toe injury, because the Jazz they're getting into their bag. they got a protected pick. They don't want to give that thing away, I don't think, in the end. So but for the most part, other than the guys who are out for the year, like Walker Kessler, the Jazz are playing their guys, right? Like Ace Bailey's out of this game, but they got their dudes. And Utah isn't, they're not good. I don't mean to sell you on that. They're the worst defensive team in the NBA, but they've been good enough and competitive enough that this is a team that you have to take it to them, go beat them. And the Blazers do. Up 36-26 after 1. A funny game, because Denny Avdia starts 3 of 10 in the first quarter, 1 of 6. I believe he made 1 of his first 7 shots, but 3 of 10 overall in the first quarter and 1 of 6 from 3. But his teammates are cooking. The Blazers hit 8 threes in the quarter. Shaedon Sharpe hit 3 threes in the quarter. Shaedon Sharpe had three baskets in the entire game against San Antonio. He had more turnovers, 4 against the Spurs, than he had baskets against them. 3 made field goals, but he struggled. And then he comes out and hits 3 threes in the first quarter. He's got 11 early, and the Blazers are rolling, except for Denny, who has been their guy. He is not rolling. He's struggling. There was a moment in that first quarter where he drives and he's kind of drifting to his right across the paint and puts up a little kind of half floater running layup, more like a running layup than a floater, because Denny doesn't float. He barges. So he's barging to the right, and he misses, and Yusuf Nurkic, old friend, yells, he says, heck nah. He didn't say that, but he said the other word. But this is a family program. I say hell on here. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say that. He said, hell nah. And it made me laugh because it was like a vintage Nurk game, and it was also it felt, even in the moment, it was a tough shot. He missed it, but it's even in the moment, a little bit of sort of poking the bear, a little bit of okay, well, he's he's been hooping. I don't know if I would tease him about missing shots going hard to his right hand. But like the Blazers up 10 after 1, and the Bear done awoke in the second quarter. Denny goes 5 of 5 in the second quarter. And the Blazers rip off 42 points. They hit another 6 3-pointers. They're 14 of 30 from deep in the second half. They go into halftime up 78-57. Their largest halftime lead by a lot of any game this season. Their previous largest halftime lead was 13. They're freaking 21. They're smoking this team. 78 was their second highest scoring total in half this season. The only other time they beat it was against this exact same terrible defensive team in the Utah Jazz back on October 29th. Except in that game, they let the Jazz get back in it. So, like, they're cooking, though. Tumani's made multiple threes. Donovan Clingan made multiple threes. Shaden Sharp's made multiple threes. Denny's made multiple threes. C.D. Sissoko's made multiple threes. Caleb Love came in off the bench and had multiple threes. That's right. 6 Blazers in the first half hit at least 2 3-pointers. Shaden Sharp hit 3. They're humming. This thing is, the offense is just humming. But, you've watched enough of this team to know that, like, if the shooting dries up a little bit, they have let teams get back into the games where they otherwise should have cruised. And what I liked about this particular performance is that had no chance in happening. The way they played a what I'll call a mature third quarter. Denny Avdija came out right away. He had 8 points in the first 3 minutes of the quarter, had 4 assists, finished the quarter with another 10 points and 5 assists just in the third alone. Shaden Sharp closed the quarter strong. He's usually the first sub and then comes back. And he finished with 12, and he caps the quarter with a 3 on the right wing. Splash, and the Blazers go into the fourth quarter with 114 freaking points. It's 114-83. The Blazers scored 100 points in 30 minutes. Go home. Like, the Jazz, just an abomination on defense. Just they give up a ton of threes as is, but like giving up straight line drives to Denny, like letting him I mean, he's obviously great at driving, but like no resistance at the rim. He had a couple just where he caught it on he wasn't on the ball, but he caught it off the ball on the wing and just like knew that if he just speed burst, straight line drive, it's a layup. And he did a bunch in the second quarter, and continued to be aggressive particularly off the ball in that second quarter, but then aggressive in the third and setting his teammates up. They shot it really well. Through 3 quarters, Denny Avdija has 33 points, 8 boards, and 9 assists. I am reminded of the hell nah early in this one. I am strongly reminded of it. He started 3 of 10. He had 7 of his final 12 shots. 7 of his final 9 shots. 33, 8, and 9 in 29 minutes through 3 quarters. He doesn't play the fourth. Shaden Sharp, 29 points, 5 boards, 7 assists in 25 minutes. He doesn't play the fourth. Sharp actually might have played a minute in the fourth quarter. Before I say that with confidence, let me look at the actual. He did. He played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. I apologize. But Shaden threw to his first 25 minutes before he gets. He's hooping through 3 quarters. Hooping. This game's over. It's over, and they cruise 137-117. That's your fastest recap in the West. Who cares what happened in the fourth quarter? The game was over. I want to talk a little bit more about the maturity of this game. I want to talk about, I do have a minor nitpick. I'll offer a minor nitpick. I don't. Something I didn't love about the way this game was played. But what I want to, before we go to the second segment, what I want to say here is like, this was the type of game that is the sort of next step. Spoiling my maturity thought a little bit for the second quarter, but this is the next step. Not that they scored 137 points. Not that they made all those damn threes. But, like, this is the next step for where the Blazers want to be. Let's talk about what I mean by that and what is the next step that we are watching them take in the second segment. Join me there, won't ya? First, though, let's talk FanDuel. Fridays already feel different. NBA Fridays feel even better because basketball season's darn fun when you're heading into the weekend, and FanDuel is making them all that much better because every Friday night before the games tip off across the NBA, FanDuel is giving fans a new way to kick off the weekend. It's called NBA Happy Hour. It is the official pregame, a limited time window. We might be able to win some stuff. A limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts across the NBA. So Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern, that's 3 to 4:30 Pacific time. It's appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. You open that FanDuel app during Happy Hour, you're going to see boosts, bonuses, surprises, always going to give you something new. And you can also check the weekly specials before tip-off and then visit the FanDuel app during that window to make sure you get in on the action. It's right before all the games tip off and right before the weekend, so it's a fun little way to get things started. So before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 3 to 4:30 Pacific time. That's 6 to 7:30 Eastern time. A little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Today's program is also brought to you by the good folks over there at Quo. You know what time it is. It's the new year, and it's a time when many small business owners look at the messier parts of how they are running their business and think, there's got to be a better way, and there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make, and that's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo. That's QUO, the smarter way to run your business communications, because your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place. You're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Plus, you can see the full conversation threads, which makes replies faster and more personal. Everybody's on the same page. It works on your phone. It works from your laptop or your desktop, so you can keep your existing number and keep everyone connected. It's no surprise Quo is the number one rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. All right. So I mentioned the next step this team is taking, because I really do think I think they are taking I think this game was a step in the right direction, an important one, and by that I mean just beating bad teams. You saw it against the Pelicans. Pelicans are one of the worst teams in the NBA. They beat them. They just won the game. It was a double-digit win. It didn't get close in the final 3 minutes. It didn't get dicey, right? They didn't cruise like they played starters down the stretch in that one, but it was not competitive, right? There weren't any sweaty possessions. It was just like, hey, don't make any mistakes. You're up 14 with 2.5 minutes left. You're going to win the game. This one was just a beatdown, right? This was a beatdown. They're up, they led by as many as 33. They were up 31. Heading into the fourth. Their largest lead was 32 in this game. Led by 31 heading fourth. Like, the game is over, right? It's over after 3 quarters. And this is the next step for this team. This is the next step. It is, the Jazz are one of the 5 worst teams in the West. And this is the Blazers. I don't know how high they're really realistically capable of climbing up the standings. But when they do play teams that are clearly worse than them, the New Orleanses, the Utahs, the Washingtons of the world, just Sacramento, and I think this is a good example, is beat them and leave no doubt. Over the course of the season, point differential is a really, really good indicator of whether you're a good team or not. The fact that the Blazers have played so many games that have gone to the clutch is not a good thing. It is an indicator that you're just not good enough to pull away from teams that you should win. It's also an indicator that there's been some games against teams you're better than that you hang in there, right? But but the overall volume is, it's not a strong indicator, right? It suggests actually the opposite. And any given night, it might be a good thing, but in general, finding ways to put teams away. And I think those games against the Kings last week, 2 weeks ago now, I guess, those were pretty good examples. They were up. They blew a double-digit lead in less than 2 minutes to go to overtime against the Kings, and then should have lost that game and got bailed out by a friendly whistle. A friendly whistle that might have been the right call. Seems like it was the right call, and the NBA said it was. Whatever, I don't care. But to be in that position was just a mess, right? They just played poorly in that game, and then they played the Kings a couple nights later, and their offense stunk, and they won a game without scoring 100 points. It was just they played, and it was close. Both of those games were close. They were that's not the mark of a good team. It's is letting those teams hang around. But against New Orleans, a double-digit win against this bad Jazz team, the worst defense in the NBA. Light them up. they were on pace to shoot something like 1 kajillion threes in the first quarter. They shot so many in that first quarter, 19 3-pointers. And Tiago Splitter mentioned after the game that was kind of like, they knew they were a team that gives up a bunch of threes, so they were kind of hunting them. 19 was maybe a little too many in the first quarter, but like, 14 of 30, like some of that is, they hit 8 threes in the first quarter. Like some of that is positive reinforcement. When they go in, you keep shooting them type of thing. But like, yeah, like I think that's a big step forward. And why I mentioned maturity is I thought the way that Denny and Shaedon played in that third quarter is the mark of what you need from your best players. Denny Avdia had 23, 7, and 4 at halftime, and he kept his foot on the gas. And particularly in that opening 3 or 4 minutes of the third quarter, you could tell he was just like, these dudes can't guard me. We're going to get a bucket every time down the floor. I'm going to get into the paint. I'm going to make it hard for them. Like, these dudes cannot guard me. Like he was just so demonstrative in those opening minutes of just like making sure he got buckets. And then Shaedon, when Denny went to the bench and he was on with that sort of leading that second unit as he often does, as it's been with Jeremy Grant out for just an indefinite future that we'll never know. He'll be day to day. May Jeremy Grant be day to day forever. But like he's gonna miss 2 weeks with a day-to-day injury that popped up kind of after one random game. But like if that's the case, so be it. There's nothing we can do about it except watch and whine. Like Shaedon's gonna have to run the second unit, and I thought the way he ran that second unit late was great. I thought it was great in that third quarter. It was great, and he closed strong. He has 12 in the third quarter. He had been really good in that first quarter, and then he kind of takes control, takes charge in the third, and make sure they close it out. Hits a big 3 at the buzzer. That's maturity from your best players. Some of it is also just shot making, right? But like, so I don't want to conflate like execution and intention. You can play smart and have the shots not go in, but I thought not only did the Blazers play like a smart, mature brand of basketball, they're also playing a bad basketball team, and so they're able to get into the shots and get to the things they wanted to. But like they were clowning the Jazz. They're throwing lobs to each other. They threw like 6 lobs in this game. There was a fast break where they got a steal. Shaedon Sharpe gets a steal, hits it to Ryan Rupert. They run out. And this is in the second quarter, and Rupes threw just like he threw it way too high. He just is a bad lob pass, which is ideal to throw Shaedon Sharpe a bad lob pass. I cannot emphasize how important it is for all of Shaedon Sharpe's teammates to continually throw him kind of like a not quite there, like 80% of the way lob, so he has to jump up to like 14 feet to go get it, and he's clowning on them. He had another one on the break from Denny. Rob got a lob dunk inside. Like they're Chris Murray got a lob dunk inside. They're clowning on this Jazz team. Jazz without any backup centers, right? Like they're small and it is what it is. But like you don't apologize. That's what I'm talking about. The next step is like you don't say like, oh, the Jazz aren't any good, but and thankful this team was able to find a way to win. No, you stomp on them, right? This is the next step because I think the Blazers have been obviously their offenses can get a little clunky and they're shorthanded and they are what they are, right? They don't have a lot of ball handlers, a lot of passing, and if teams can really turn up the defensive pressure against them, they can turn the ball over a lot. Like you've watched them play, but when they're not playing, if you haven't, that's kind of what they're like. But like when you're not playing against the elite teams, like when you are playing against bad teams, treat them like bad teams, and that is what I really liked about this game is that the Jazz are a bad basketball team and the Trailblazers went into the arena tonight and treated them like a bad basketball team and just smoked them. Much like local Northwest legend Cliff Harris, they smoked them all. Let's talk what's next for the Blazers, because I think looking ahead a little bit, this is... I want to talk about the M word. There's an M word here that's going to get thrown around when you win games, and I want to talk a little bit about that to close the show, because the Blazers got some tough ones coming up. Join me in that third segment, won't ya? First, though, Let's talk Game Time. It's basketball season. There's nothing like being in the building, being at the Moda Center. 8 of the next 10 of the Moda Center, and you could be there too. You got the energy, you got your buddies, the crowd, the first big run of the game, the final big run of the game. Fans are going to want to be in the building. If you're a fan, why don't you use Game Time to get you in the building, then not be stuck chasing down tickets, refreshing screens, or guessing what hidden fees are going to jump up when you get to checkout. Game Time is the app that gives fans the advantage back. It's incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. What I like about Game Time is that the app looks great. Super simple to use. Pull it up. It's going to say, hey, you happen to be in Portland, Oregon. You want to go see the Blazers at the Moda Center? You're going to say, yes, I do. You're going to click on whatever game that's coming up in the near future, and it's going to pull up a map of the Moda Center on your phone super quick, and you are going to look at all the sections in the arena, and what you see is what you get pricing. So as you are scrolling around, zooming and all of that, scrolling all of that through the map of the Moda Center, if you see something cost $67, when you go to checkout, they're going to charge you $67. That's how it works. Plus, if you've never sat in that part of the arena before, if you've never been to the arena in general, you can click through and get a 360 view from your seat in the building before you buy anything. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. So I mentioned in Monday's program that I recorded on Sunday morning and released on Sunday afternoon, but yesterday's show, that I thought the Blazers were playing their best basketball this season. And I think that's true. They played really well in the first 4 games, but that's like so long ago, and they're a different team, and they've kind of settled in. They're a different team, just like it both in one of those games. They had a different coach who was later arrested by the FBI some 7 hours after the game ended. They've got a different coach. Like, this is a different team. Like, they're, Drew hasn't played since the middle of November. Matisse Thybulle hasn't played since October 29th. Like, they're Jeremy Grant is going to miss a couple weeks here. Like, this is a different group, right? At the beginning of the year, they didn't have Rob, right? But also just like they've settled in. Over at the beginning of the year, Denny Avdia was merely someone who averaged 20 points, 5 boards, and 5 assists. And now he's a dude who averages 25, 7, and 7. Like, he's settled in. Shaedon Sharpe was really struggling at the beginning of the year, particularly those first 4 or 5 games, 6 games. But like, he's kind of settled in. Yeah, he still has some ups and downs, but I think for the most part, you kind of like Shaedon Sharpe's going to score 20 or 22 points or tonight 29 in 25 minutes. And you'll be all right. You're going to be in a good spot. I think though, like, they are playing their best basketball of the season, but I believe in confidence very strongly in building habits, but I don't really believe in momentum. And that's why I think this Wednesday, Friday against the Rockets will be a great test of that. I'm not really going to get too deep into my non-belief in momentum here, but much like in baseball where momentum is the next day's starter, I just think the NBA season is too long to say like, yep, they've got it. Although like teams get it rolling and obviously get hot. And like if you ask players, they'll say they have momentum. So like go for it. But I think like the test is, has the maturity earned in a blowout of the Pelicans, blowout of the Jazz, and a game where they could have folded and found ways to win against the Spurs, responded several times in the second half to Spurs runs to make plays. Is that something that can translate when the competition ratchets up another level? And I think that's what this is. Like, Alperen Şengün is not going to play in either of the Wednesday or Friday games, but 2 games against a straight up very good Rockets team that can, the best offensive team in the league because they just mash the offensive glass and they've got a bunch of good defenders and can really turn up on that end as well. And they have Kevin Durant, one of the great shot makers of his generation, one of the great shot makers in the history of the sport. I think it'll be a fascinating test for, I don't know if how real this is, but sort of how the Blazers can, with the way Donovan Clingan has played and the way Denny has played and the way Tumani has just shot better of late. And, and like, can that stuff that you can bank, that they've been able to bank on, can it translate? Because last time they played like a really good team, the Oklahoma City, they got thrashed. But just before that, they had like, they beat Boston, who's a darn good basketball team as well. So we've seen it, and now they get a test back-to-back on Wednesday and Friday. I realize I missed this in the second segment. I want to nitpick very briefly on this. I don't want to paint this as a big deal or something, but I mentioned it, so I'm not going to, I don't know. The show's sort of about nitpicking. So I want to mention this quickly before we get out of here. I thought Tumani and Donovan Clingan played too much in this game. I don't think they played too much. This game was over. And Tumani played 35 minutes and Clingan played 33. I think Chris Murray's on a minutes limit. I think he's pretty obviously on a minutes limit. Tiago Splitter will do this thing after games where he says, like, and he had his, and I was dealing with guys on minutes limits, but he won't say who or what it is. And if you ask him before the game, he'll kind of decline to say how much the minutes limit is, but then he'll mention after the game they're right up against their minutes limit. So I think Chris Murray, coming back from a quad injury, was not supposed to play more than 25 or 26 minutes. He played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter and came out. He played 26 minutes and 40 seconds. So I kind of get that Tumani had to play a little bit longer because they didn't want to totally go to the bench unit forever. But I think there was a stoppage at like the 6:17 mark and the 5:30 mark, and either of those times would have been great to get those guys out of there. You get them out of the 6-minute mark. They played till about they played until the 2:15 mark is when they finally got in. So if you get them out of the 6 and some change mark, that's under 30 for DC. That's under 30 for 2. I realize these are young men. I realize they can easily play these many minutes, and it's a normal minutes load for a game. But in this game like this, I think you really want to avoid, one, just the cumulative minutes exhaustion of an NBA game, of an NBA season, and as well as just like the random, terrible, freak stuff that can happen if you play an extra 5 minutes in a game that doesn't matter. Just stepping on someone's foot, rolling an ankle, missing 10 days. Like, it just, I thought it played too much. I think I kind of get it. Tiago Splitter doesn't want to mess with the game. He does not want to, as Nate McMillan once said, that if you F with the game will F with you. And he was talking about friendship, and he did not want to friendship the game up. He did not. So he's just like, I'm going to play 9 minutes and 45 seconds straight of 2 in DC to close this game, then we're going to get out of here. But it's like Young Hansen could have played 4.5 minutes in this game, and up 24, and I think they could have held on. Duop-Reith could have come in and played a little bit of basketball, and they could have probably held on. I didn't love it, although I think some of it was minutes restrictions to other guys on the roster. But if I'm going to nitpick, that's my complaint in this game. Back to momentum and this test ahead. Houston, New York. The Knicks are in a bad place right now. They're struggling. So maybe that Sunday game is an easy one. Just kidding. Teams bounce back. Talent wins in this league. But I think, like, I don't want to make the Rockets' results a referendum on whether this team is good or bad or mediocre or whatever. I don't think that. I don't really think any random game, it has a deep amount of meaning in any given, like during the length of an NBA season. But what I do think is it will be an interesting test, win or lose, to see kind of the function that the Blazers play with. Like, they're not going to make this many threes, right? And if they do, they're going to win. They're going to win. But they didn't even shoot that well after halftime. They were 14 of 30 at halftime. They shot 5 of 18 in the second half. But like, it always comes back a little bit. They had a monster game, but they ended up shooting under 40%, 39.6 to end it, because they didn't shoot great in the second half. But I think it's like, can they still get to the, Denny drive, kick, swing, pass up good to great for a corner three-pointer? Whether that's Sidi Sissoko missing a wide-open three or Sidi Sissoko cashing in a wide-open three, do they trust that pass off of that first drive? Or do they end up with a lot of, stagnant possessions where they got caught switching and got caught in switches and end up playing a bunch of one-on-one? Can they generate, enough quality looks in the half court? Can they make it hard and at least keep Houston from dominating crazy the offensive glass to the tune of, like, 50 or 60% offensive rebound rate or something. And can they solve the zone that Houston's going to throw at them? That kind of just like, whether the shots go in or not is the process that we've seen them play with, and the resilience they played with against the Spurs. Does that show up in those games against Houston? Because as you step up a level, you kind of continue to get tested. Obviously, the Spurs were a little bit shorthanded. And like, whether they can carry this quote-unquote momentum forward or just build on the habits and the confidence from playing their best basketball right now to play like truly competitive games against good teams. I think the end of this week is really fascinating for that. I think it'll be a good sort of look at where they are, because right now it feels like they're a team that is figuring out how good they can be, and how competitive they can be. But there is sort of a sobering reality that sometimes catches up with you during the NBA season. So I'm really fascinated to see how that plays out this week. That is going to do it for today's program. Come back for tomorrow's show. I got some statistical oddities that I'm going to share with you. And then that will be Wednesday's program. You're not going to want to miss it. And Thursday, we'll recap the first of 2 games against the Rockets. Should be a bunch of fun. Tell your friends about the podcast. Tell them they can get it wherever they get podcasts and also on YouTube. And tell them that the Blazers are humming right now. Winners of 5 of 6, playing their best basketball of the season. Denny Avdia and Shaedon Sharpe are smoking the Jazz, stopping the music. And then tell them to come back for more shows later this week. I appreciate you listening. I will talk to you soon.